Afternoon, everyone. So today we are going to present, or we are presenting a brief overview of feminist critique of liberalism by Martha C. Nussbaum. So we'll we'll be focusing on the main ideas and key arguments, particularly the criticism, like the feminist criticism on liberalism, and how Martha Nussbaum responds to them. So so let's So let's start with the two big ideas, that is liberalism and feminism. I'm just giving a brief overview of liberalism and feminism. So liberalism focuses on individual freedom, rights, equality, whereas feminism focuses on justice and equality for women. So the feminist criticizes liberalism. I mean, the feminist critics says that it does not fully protect women. So Martha asks, so is this criticism fair, or is it, or this, the liberalism actually help women? These are the question Martha put forward. So, first let us see what is liberalism. So, the basic idea of liberalism is every person has equal worth. Every person should have the freedom to choose their lives, and society should accept or respect individual rights. So, let's take an example. If a girl in a village, if a girl is forced to marry at 15, and where widows do not have the property rights, and if women cannot study, the liberalist perspective says that each person has their own rights, right? So women should be free to choose their education, marriage, work, and also their life goals. So liberalism is about respecting individual rights, dignity, and choices, not just the family and community. So now let's look into the what are the feminist critics of liberalism. So these are the three main criticism. That is, liberalism is too individualistic. It is too abstract, which ignores the real life inequalities, and is too focused on reasons. That is, ignoring care and emotions. Now we'll look into each of this. The first one is it is too individualistic. That is, critics says that liberalism treats people as isolated individuals, ignoring family, community, and societal pressure. When we take an example, a woman seems to choose not to work and stay at home, but the actual reason might be her husband forbids it, or her family is expected, or she may not have the support to take care of a child. So, what feminists argue is that liberalism ignores the social pressure that shapes the women's choices. This is the first criticism. So, the next one is it is too abstract. That another criticism that liberalism talks about. The criticism is that it talks about equality on paper, but ignores the real life instances. For instance, a law says that everyone has the right for education, but a girl in a village may not have access to nearby schools. Her family may not afford her uniform or books, or she can, or like her society may not prevent her from attending schools. So, although the right exists on paper, the opportunity to the use right may not exist in the practice. Because of this gap between the legal rights and real life inequalities, feminists argue that liberalism can sometimes too be idealistic. And the third critique is that liberalism is too rational. That liberalism places too much emphasis on reason and rational decision making. It often values logic and independence over care and emotions. So feminists argue that human life is also shaped by emotions, empathy, and relationships. For example, when a mother cares for her child, uh, her actions are not based on her actions are not based on rational calculation, but her actions are based on their love, affection, or empathy, or the emotional bonds. So feminists argue that these forms of care and relationships are central to human life, but liberal theories sometimes overlook this importance. So these are the these are the critics that put forward in the book by Martha Nussbaum. So here rises the question: how does Nussbaum respond to these feminist criticisms of liberalism? So I'll hand over to my partner. She'll be explaining this.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Saranya. So now that we have seen three criticisms of liberalism from the feminist perspective, we'll see these criticisms from the lens of Martha Nussbaum. So, according to her, she does not really oppose liberalism as a whole. In fact, she acknowledges few shortcomings and tries to address these shortcomings. And she focuses mainly on women's real life problems and the inequalities they face. So, liberalism and individualism. So, the first critic was liberalism is too individualistic. It was that. So, what Martha says is it is what we want. So, we want the people to consider women as individuals rather than from a perspective of their gender roles. For example, most of the societies view women as, or rather, appreciate women for the roles they perform. For example, we celebrate Mother's Day. We respect our mothers, but for what? For the roles they play. So these roles are like they cook for us, they help us, they take care of us. But are they doing these roles because of their own choice? Not really, right? So, what Martha says is view women as individual people rather than viewing them from their gender roles. So, this is how Martha differs from the traditional feminist perspective. And women aren't equally free in reality. So, we got the equal rights, but are we equally free? Do you guys think so? No, right? So, what she says is liberalism focuses too much on freedom. We talk a lot about freedom, but only on papers. We ignore the reality completely, is what they say. So, imagine a woman getting a job opportunity. So, according to the laws in the paper, she is most welcome to work. But in reality, her family says no, the society judges her, or most importantly, she develops a guilt of leaving behind her children. So, all these factors are ignored in liberalism, is what she says. So, she uh, she doesn't disagree with the idea of liberalism per se, but the way it is implemented, or we can say the way it is not implemented. Critics critics of the private family. So liberalism as a concept views family as a private institution. So the government cannot interfere on what's happening within the family. So here the problem is inequality and injustice starts right from the family. So what Martha says is family has to be examined and all the injustice happening here must be addressed. So you simply cannot do all the unfair in the world and simply get away with by saying it's my private life. So that's the critic. And capabilities approach. So capabilities approach, what Martha says is don't ask a woman if she is happy. So for ask her what she is capable of and what she is doing currently. For example, let's imagine a place where no woman is allowed to work, no woman is allowed to study. So if you go to a woman and ask if she is happy, obviously she's going to say yes because she is totally unaware of the world where women get to earn, where women get to get education. So happiness is not a right way to measure if there is inequality. So similarly, preferences. As happiness can be misleading, preferences can also be misleading. For example, you guys might have come across a trend called tread wife. in social media. So this concept is where the girls dress up like 1950s, all those aesthetics, and do cooking and take care of the breadwinner husband. So these aesthetics are being glorified in social media. So what will happen to a child who grows up by seeing all these things glorified? Obviously, her preferences will differ. Obviously, it will be similar to those trends. So preferences can also be misleading, is what she says. Martha says it is important to focus on what are the real opportunities which is being given, whether they are given a choice to decide what they want to do. Talking about choices, it's really important to know what a choice actually is for us. So Nussbaum says the person really has to have options, and okay, they have. And they should not be restricted by all these social norms, and they have to be allowed to choose differently. If everyone is doing the same, I should not be compelled to do the same. So if these criteria are not met, it isn't really a choice. So the conclusion is liberalism can work for feminists only if it is improved, and we must focus on the real life situations rather than working on paper. Just build, like making a law, coming up with a new law doesn't really address the issue. And true freedom is when we get the real opportunities as well as we get to make the choice, make informed decisions. So this is what feminists criticize. This is how feminists criticize liberalism. This is the reference.